Hello everybody, this is the tutorial for interface programming. I'm going to show you two techniques to interact with your board, and I'm basically using this opportunity to teach you how to do this in first Unity 3D, where basically we're going to receive information from serial port, and also we can write information to serial port in order to control, for example, an output device. In the first part, I will explain, in case you're not familiar with Unity, I will explain what it is, what are the main things that you need to basically learn in order to develop something in the software. The second example, I will do something on processing, basically doing the same workflow, right into a serial port, and also listening to what a serial port has. These are just basic examples. Basically, from here you can build whatever you want. I know that on the website, Neil showed some examples, for example, how to use, in some cases, Alexa or things like that. In this case, I will just do something basic. If you have further questions, I will be happy to answer them. If, of course, I have the answer. So the first thing is that this is Unity 3D. This is a game engine. Right now I'm using version 2018.4.3 F1. Basically, I'm just going to start from scratch. Actually, I'm just going to close the software. In order to install it, you need to go to let me go to you go to Unity 3D, download. This will get you to the website of Unity, and I will recommend downloading Unity Hub instead of just like choosing a specific version of Unity. Why? I will explain in a second what are the advantages of doing this instead of just downloading the version of Unity. If you follow the steps, this is just like any normal installation. You have, as you can see here, you basically have versions for Windows 7, 8, 10. You have Mac OS from 10.12, which I think is High Sierra, maybe something like older, and also Ubuntu from 16.4 or 18. Actually, in Linux works really well, and some things work even faster. In case you're interested in applying Unity in further, more advanced projects. So basically, after you download Unity Hub, you will go here, and instead of just opening Unity, this will show you a window that looks like this. So basically here you can see what versions of Unity you have installed, and this is very important because in this case, basically, I mean, in this situation, when you have Unity Hub installed, you can have many versions of Unity. You have seen that, for example, when you download some sketch of I don't know, processing, sometimes you have like compatibility issues because of the version that you're using. In this case, this allows you to have like many versions of Unity. So if you're working with something that was developed in Unity 2017, you can open it because you don't know if will be compatible with Unity 2018, because some core things changes in the way the software works. So in this case, I just have this. You can add support for Android, iOS, Linux, Mac, and so on and so forth. So basically, this is the idea of using a video game engine to actually do projects, because and I especially like Unity a lot because this gives you the possibility of compiling for a really nice and broad set of options. You can compile directly to your iOS device or Android if you have developer accounts, or directly to your Mac, to your Windows, or even like WebGL. That is pretty powerful. So in this case, you can start a new project here in New. You can choose your version, and it will ask you some things. So for example, here, my target platform, that's okay. I'm just using this new project that I created, which is called How to Make Almost Anything Serial, because basically we're going to do serial communication. And the interface, basically you have, probably you can't see in my video because I'm hiding the top bar, but basically you have like options like file, this is file, edit, assets, game object, component, window, and help. But basically this has most of the functionality that the software has. Here you have something that is called hierarchy, that basically shows you all the elements that you have on screen. So in this case we have just a directional light, that is a sun, and you have a main camera. What we're going to do today combines 2D and 3D examples, so this is why we have now a 3D environment. So basically each object that you create will show up here. At the same time, you see in the right side of the screen you have something that is called the inspector, that basically shows you all the properties of what is called a game object. So in this case you will see that this is called main camera, and you have like some tabs or menus that correspond to, or basically tells you about the parameters of this game object, that is the most basic let's say thing that you can create inside Unity, where you have the most basic ones, parameters, that is the transform, that basically is a rigid transform that indicates position, rotation, and also scale, basically all the transformations that you can make. And also it has this special component that basically is a script, basically is a piece of code that says, okay, you are a game object, but you are also a camera, and you have like different parameters. So for example, if I want to change, as you can see here, the color of the background, or I don't know, field of view, depth, depth of field, if you want like parameters as a physical camera, where you can have like focal length, sensor type, and so on and so forth. Also you have, for example, if we select directional light, you have again the same most basic property of a game object, that is the rigid transform. But instead of saying that you are a camera, this piece of code, this component is saying, okay, you are a light, and you can change this to, for example, a point, an area light, a spotlight, or directional light. That is the default. You can choose, for example, if you want like real-time shadows or illumination, mix or bake. So basically you create some sort of like a light map that will light your scenes, for example, that you make in Unity, and that will make it run faster, for example, in a mobile device or in a not so powerful computer. Being this said, we're gonna leave it until here for this objects in the scene, but I want to explain something that is quite important, that is the folder structure. So in this case we have here the project part, and you can see, or you will see, basically all the files that are contained in the project folder. So for example, in the case of Mac, if I right click, for example, this asset folder, and I go to reveal in Finder, or in the case of Windows, show in Explorer, you go here, and this will take you to the folder that contains, for example, here you can see I have like several projects, and I have one that is called HT How to Make Almost Anything Serial, and this is the basic folder structure. So basically you have folders that one is temp, project setting, packages, logs, library, and the most important for us, basically the one that you should care about, is this one called assets. Basically here you will put all the things that you want to use in your project. You have another folder here that is called packages, and I will show you in another video, because basically, or later in this video, because it helps you add functionalities to Unity. So basically if you go here and you see scenes, this will show you that we have this sample scene. a scene, basically because this is a video game engine, is like some sort of like stage or level on a game. So for example, this could be like when you play Mario Bros. This is like the first stage when you have like the world with full of bricks. And another scene could be when Mario Bros. Is Super Mario is under the water. So basically, you can have like multiple scenes, or think of it as a PowerPoint slide, where you can have like different slides, and basically this is one slide, and you can interchange some things. So I will show you how to interact with this. It's fairly simple. You can create you can have as many scenes as you want, and then you will reorder them or call them when you compile this for a phone, WebGL, and so on and so forth. So one thing that you should know, and this is what we're going to do in this video, we're going to set a specific folder structure. So for example, if you go here and you set new folder, you can call this scripts or code. And basically when you do this will also create the folder here. So you see now that it appears as code. So I'm showing you this because you have the liberty also to do it. If you select assets folder and you right click here and you say like create, for example, you have the option to create many things that will be inside Unity, not necessarily in your project, but they will basically live in your folder and your hard drive. So it's a good practice, for example, to do several folders. So for example, this could be image, in case you have images. Another folder could be like 3D models. What else can we do? Data, for example, if you want to work with like files that you have. So I think this is good enough to start. And I will show you one more thing before ending this video that is already 12 minutes. I promise I will keep like each videos on this tutorial series under 15 minutes. But these are like good resources to basically go when you have like some sort of questions. So in this case, we are going to do something quite simple. We will go to the folder code, we will right click, and we will select, in this case, C# script. C# is the main language in processing. It used to have also JavaScript or some sort of JavaScript, but I think that is being like left out now because C# is a more powerful and also beautiful coding language. So if you go here and you click C# script, please don't do or click anywhere else. So you see now the thing that you should do is just write the name of your code. So in this case, we will name this hello world, and now we will press enter. And this is actually, I made a typo, and that's really cool. Actually, I'm going to delete this, and I will show you why I'm very like serious about this. Create C# script. I don't click anywhere else, and now write hello world. Also, if you wanna have something that, I don't know, like different words, always try to use a underscore or something that separates. Don't use spaces, like blank spaces. It's a good practice. So now I'm just gonna press enter, and you will see that now when I select this in the inspector, it shows me the content of this. And this is very important because each script is basically a class. If you know what you don't know what a class is, please like go to YouTube or Google, and you will see that this basically corresponds to like OOP, that is object-oriented programming. And in this case, the name of the class corresponds to the name of the file. So, for example, if you do create C# and if you click somewhere else, the name of your script is new behavior script, and the name of your class is new behavior script. And if you change this in your code, but don't change this in your file, basically this will produce an error. So in this case, we're just going to delete this, and you should double click now your script, and you will see that this will open Visual Studio 2019 for Mac or for Windows or whatever. Actually, I would recommend, now I think the new versions of Unity demand that you install this, that you don't install model behavior, for example, in the case of Mac. Visual Studio is quite cool. So basically, if you see this is pretty similar to the structure of a Arduino sketch or also processing sketch. Basically, you have the class that basically inherits all the methods from model behavior. You have here the basic imports. Basically, you are adding the functionality of your system. This will allow you to, for example, work with lists, array lists, and so on. And here you have all the functionality of Unity Engine API. We will add some stuff in the future, such as, for example, using Unity Engine.ui, and that will allow this will allow us to interact with or add functionality in terms of UI elements. If you see this, for example, this has like a small comment or description about what the start does. And for example, here we can say debug.log, and we can, sorry about this, we can say this is the start function running once at the beginning of the program. So basically, each time you want to print something, this will debug log with a capital L. This will run one time. And on the other hand, just as processing, if you do debug.log, and you can say like hello world, and we can, for example, declare a variable. This is just like Unity 101. You can say like integer, for example, counter equals to 0, and you can say that hello world, I am counting numbers. And you can say plus, for example, counter, and you can say counter, sorry, in another line, counter plus plus. I think I'm okay. It's been a while since the last time. Just want to change line. For some reason, I'm capable of doing counter plus plus. So basically, this will actually I should call it C, just C. Probably will give me, I don't know if there is a class or something that basically this will iterate each frame and it will add 1 to this number. So let's see if this runs correctly. If you go to the menu build and you say build all, you will see a message that says that build is successful. And if you go back to Unity, basically you see that the content just changed of this file. So next step, we will create empty. You right click here in the hierarchy and we will create an empty game object. And basically we will call this hello world. You see that this has nothing else than just the transform, the rigid transform. It has a position and you can see it here. You can manipulate this up, down, so on and so forth. And basically what we are going to do, we are going to select hello world and we are going to drag this script here. So basically you see now we added a new component that we programmed. And if we press play, we will start our game. And you can see in the console that we have a message that is saying, hello world, I am counting numbers. And basically it's just adding a counter. This is like a for loop that runs all the time. So basically this is the basic workflow that we will follow to interact with our boards and read and also write to the serial port. So wait for the next tutorial, and yep, thank you very much.